All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Welcome to
morning.
the,
Morning.
what month
Good
are we in? Welcome to the
morning,
March
We're in
March.
March.
Brooklyn DD
Good morning.
Council General Monthly Meeting.
And
Appreciate
that was
everyone being here. We have a pretty full agenda today. We have our normal updates from the council, from the committees, from OPWDD. Lucy will be doing it in place of Nina. We have IAC update, and IAC will have representation back, so you guys get a break from hearing from me more than you have to. We'll be joined by Kate, who is one of their newest members over there at IAC. We also have two great presentations, Deanne Jones from Uniquely Me Creative Arts and Ali Tierney from Best Buddies International. And then, of course, at the end, as always, we'll have time for announcements and updates. So if anyone has anything aside from putting it in the chat, please feel free to announce it at the end. This meeting is recorded. It will be posted on our website and shared out for anyone to view with the transcript and the chat. So anything that was posted will not be missed by anyone that couldn't attend today. So I will start off on behalf of the council by reminding everyone to save the date. We are coming back to Brooklyn College on Wednesday, June 18th for our big family support fair. I believe we should have our registration information out by the end of this week at the latest. We were working on it at the end of last week, so we're just finalizing some things. So please keep an eye out for that, but hold the date Wednesday, June 18th, back at Brooklyn College Student Center from 9:30 to 2. Last year we had almost 70 agencies. Hopefully we can top that this year. We had some fun activity with the 360 photo booth. We had some light refreshments, and I think it was a really great day. So keep that on your calendar and keep an eye out in your email from me for the registration link, which should be coming out this week. Are any of the council chairs on? Debbie, I know you're here that want to give an update about your most recent meeting and plug your upcoming meeting.
Sure. Do you want me able to do the advisory to get everything out of the way?
Sounds great.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Deborah Greif. I am the parent co-chair for the Provider Information Family Committee. I am with Rose Salt as my co-chair. We meet the second Wednesday of the month from 10 to 11. This past month, we had a joint meeting with the Legislative Committee, which follows us. What we did was we had a guest from the accessibility from the MTA. Her name is Miss Sarah Berry, who was explaining about how to you switch from switch from the reduced fare Metro card to Omni. It was it was very well received. She gave a lot of great information, and it is on the both councils' website and YouTube page. Now I'm going to do the chairperson's report I am the chairperson for the Brooklyn Family Support Service Advisory Council, and I represent us up in Albany for Brooklyn at the statewide. We had our last meeting. The biggest concern was we did talk about the budget, but I was updating everybody from what the statewide council was doing. We've had a few little changes to the statewide. We had to make sure that all parent members who are fill out all conflict of interest forms, as well as we are going to be reading RFPs. I don't know the exact date. We'll be doing the trainings. And when they are given out, the agencies will know. Brooklyn's major priority was housing, and also for housing advocacy, as well as for when parents who have children with, say, mobility or use a mobility device or cannot manage stairs or they need certain devices. We also put the number two priority was to update to have more agencies if they can help the families by building or fixing the apartment or house to be accessible. Now, the Brooklyn, as you know, we always have mini resource fairs. Our last one was at the New Lots Library. It was very well received. We were crowded. The next one is going to be on Friday, April 4th. It will be at the McKinley Library that's on Fort Hamilton Parkway. It is from 11 to 1. If you're interested, please email us, and I will tell you, even if we have no tables available, we still invite you to come because we've had families leaving, not family, I apologize. Agencies give out their information, and we see that, and Carrie Banks, who is our co-host and wonderful host from the Inclusive Services, we take your information and it is shared with everybody. Remember, Brooklyn is a large borough. Every library gets that. We also get the Angela Haskell Library to come in for families who either have children who are visually impaired and also adults, and they've been a big help too. Now I'm going to do we will have our meeting for the second Wednesday of the month. I don't have who's going to be the speaker, and this is for the provider information, and it will be on, it'll be on Wednesday, April 9th. It'll be on Ring Central. Now, the advisory will have their meeting on April 22nd, also on Ring Central from 10 to 12. Now, I'm going to do a quick report from Mr. Christopher Greif, who is on the Advisory Council Corresponding Secretary. He is the treasurer. But as you know, Mr. Greif is on the ACTA Committee and the New York City Transit Riders Council. Right now, he's at 2 Broadway. I have a few big announcements, but I'm only going to give partial the report because it's going to be put on the chat and shared. We now have a permanent vice president over Access-Right. Her name is Miss Rachel Cohen. Miss Cohen she worked in the accessible part. She was brought in through time with Andy Byford. She completely understands the issues and problems with Access-Right, and she will be working and already has in her acting position been very, very helpful. Also, Chris P., I can't pronounce his last name, will now become the president for the buses and subways. We will constantly update you on any new changes that are coming with the MTA. Please also be aware that you can now, if you don't get your Omni card in the mail, let the MTA know. But also if you do get it and you want to put money on it or there's transfer, go to one of the customer service centers that are all over New York City. In fact, one of the easiest ones, which I just did to change and update my Omni card, was at Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue. They even have it also at Atlantic Avenue, but it's on the MTA website. So with that, I've done all the reports, and if you have any further questions, you can either put in the chat or we can talk later offline. Thank you. Okay, Brian, I'm done.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're
So
welcome.
again, in case anyone, just to clear it up, so Debbie is a co-chair of the Family Provider and Care Management Information Committee at the council. She's also the chairperson of the Brooklyn Family Support Advisory Council. So we are 2 separate groups, but we often collaborate and work very closely together. But I know sometimes that gets blurry and people are not sure that that's 2 groups and what that's all about. So there you go.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. Any of our other of our co-chairs, Marjorie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Any update on the Meaningful Day Committee?
Good morning. My name is Marjorie. I am one of the co-chairs for our Meaningful Day Committee. We began a 4-part series in February regarding transitions in and out of education services into Adult Day. The second session in that series, I believe, is the end of April. We will get that date to you and post it on the website. I'm sure Brian will do that expeditiously. Once we solidify that day, we had to change one of the days due to some internal happenings within the committee and folks not being able to be present that day. So we will get that update to folks as soon as possible. And we're encouraging families who have questions regarding whether it's to 25 or just transitioning out of programming as kids are to please reach out to us. I think my name is already included, and so is Laura and Trudy's names in terms of the website, in terms of being able to respond to questions as folks have questions regarding these transitions. But that second session in the series is going to be completely devoted to the transition process that's occurring now for kids turning 5 in terms of education and or those folks who are turning 42 in which discipline services. If there are any other questions, please put them in the chat. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. Lucina.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I did. I was in Maryland supporting a friend of mine because I didn't realize that March was also Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day, and they light up the beautiful wheel in National Harbor Green. But they were working it, so she had a wonderful event called Move for CP. And I got a bigger surprise. She honored our organization in Maryland. So we're doing some work there as well, which is great. As the co-chair, I'm sorry, Maria is not here today. Maria is the one a lot of legislation and policies. She is in Washington, D.C., which is good. She's meeting and hobnobbing, which is a really nice thing. As part of the legislative committee, we always ask if any parent is also on this panel or here, please join, please be a part of the legislative committee because it's your voices that need to be heard. We as providers always speaking to the politicians, they want to hear you. They want to hear your story. They want to know what you're going through, the challenges, whether having the correct DSP, the challenges in how the agencies are providing supports for you. Your voice is very important. We'll be having some workshops. We do a lot of collaboration with Carrie. Thank you in advance for always providing that space for us in the library to have these discussions. We meet every the second Wednesday in collaboration with Deborah and the Brooklyn Family Support Advisory Council. We do a Zoom. Please join us because your voices are the one to make sure legislators know if OPWDD is right, if DOMH is doing right, or whoever agencies or providers you're with. I look forward to just always providing information, being that voice, that strong voice for the families to help them request and how to ask the questions. That's important. How do you ask the questions? I'm looking forward to many exciting and new things as the year continues for our family. I said, this year is, no matter what's going on, it's a great year for you parents. So open your mouth and share your concerns. So thank you again, Brian, for all that you do and making sure we, the committee, come in task and make sure we provide information to our families. So thank you. Have an amazing day again. We meet on the second Wednesday of every month at 11 following Debbie's and their meeting a committee as well. So thank you again. Have an amazing Monday.
Thank you, Lucina. All right. Any other council co-chairs want to give an update on their committees? Or that might be it. I think we only have one other committee.
Isn't Markham here?
I don't see his name.
Oh, he was. Okay.
All right, we'll give him a chance if he comes back on. But for right now, again, save the date for our Big Family Support Fair, Brooklyn College, June 18th, 9:30 to 2. Registration will be out this week. And with that being said, I will pass it off to the update from OPWDD and Lucio Mezzi.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Lucio Mezzi, and I'm the Regional Field Office Administrator for Brooklyn, as well as the lead overseeing the crisis unit and the waiver unit. Although Nina is not here today, but I believe that our director, Mr. James Doherty, is also on the line. I'm going to be providing the updates for OPWDD. So I'm going to start with the self-direction. The fiscal intermediary 3-year contract extension has been advanced and approved to go on to OSC, Office of State Controller. DEI, Georgetown University National Center for Cultural Competency, NCC, is currently leading listening sessions on Zoom and telephone for families of persons with intellectual or other developmental disabilities, IDD. The sessions are available as a group or individually. In order to participate, one must be 18 years old or older, There must be the parent or the legal guardian or other family member who is also knowledgeable about the interests and needs of the person in their family with IDD. Familiar with the experiences of the person with IDD of accessing or receiving support and services from OPWDD or its providers. They must be willing to sign a consent and also complete a registration form. They must be able to access a telephone or the internet, use a tablet or the computer. We're providing an incentive. After the listening session, the NCC will offer one participant per family a $25 retail gift card to honor their time. The Family Support RFP timeline is going to be coming out in late March or early April. The RFP will go out. The Family Support Council and the Regional Field Office Family Support staff will play a role in reviewing the proposals and identifying awardees. I believe that Deborah mentioned that when she was providing our updates. And the awards will go out in early August, tentatively. Housing updates. The Community Transition Initiative, it was mentioned last month. It provides a one-time funding for providers with a focus on an approved group of individuals who are aging out or they have aged out of residential schools, or they're currently in the hospital or the ITOs. That's our intensive treatment options, or nursing homes. Those are for class members. The individuals who are in need of residential placement, individuals in those settings that are in need of residential placement. The admission must occur on or before October 31st, 2025 for 2025 graduates or postgraduates. Also, admissions must occur for individuals who are being discharged from ITOs and hospitals and eligible individuals from skilled nursing facilities on or before July 31st, 2025. I believe that agencies have already responded to those proposals, and they've made their interest known. General updates. There's an OPWDD Security Summit event for providers to manage cyber threats, AI, data, and data security. The event will occur on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025, and it's going to be in person in Utica University. OPWDD 2025 annual report is now available in multiple languages on our website. The 2024 strategic annual report. The website is 2024 strategic plan annual report at the Office of OPWDD with Developmental Disabilities. Our annual Get Outdoors and Get Together events will be held at select locations across New York on Saturday, June 14. And the link is Get Outdoors and Get Together Day at Office of OPWDD with Developmental Disabilities. I can put this link in the chat afterwards. Also, March is Developmental Disability Awareness Month. In honor of that, the DDA, Developmental Disability Awareness Month, DDAM, New York State lighted its landmark building orange on March 7 to commemorate the importance of recognizing the contributions and talent of the developmental disability community and how it adds diversity, it adds to the overall diversity of the state. And throughout the month of March, OPWDD will introduce people with developmental disabilities who are daring to dispel ableist stereotypes by achieving their personal goals and contributing to their communities. These people dare to be homeowners and taxpayers. They dare to be students or advocates, or they dare to participate in a community or compete in a sport. Stories are on our website. Currently, we have stories for Marisol, Dylan, Paul, and Haver. And if anyone would like to share how daring they are and how they have been themselves, they can send a picture of themselves to our communications.office@opwdd.ny.gov. And then fill in the blank after the word. I dare to blank. You may see yourself featured on our website or social media channels. And you can also share your I dare to message on your social media page, and you can tag us at NYSOPWDD and use the hashtag Dare4DDAM. I have other additional updates as well. On the federal actions and the recent court decisions, Office for People with Developmental Disabilities shares your concern about potential cuts in federal funding for programs for people with developmental disabilities. We're closely monitoring the situation. However, no changes have occurred yet, which will impact funding for OPWDD programs. We will do our best to keep you updated as we receive information from the federal government. Temporary pause of grants, loans, and assistance programs. The National Council of Nonprofits versus OMB, that's the Office of Management and Budget Memorandum. This case challenges the Office of Management and Budget Memorandum that required federal agencies to temporarily pause all activities that could be implicated by the President's executive orders. On 2/25/2025, a preliminary injunction enjoining the Trump administration from implementing, giving effect to, or reinstating under a different name the blanket freeze on federal funds. The New York versus Trump, at the behest of Democratic attorneys general from 22 states, including New York and the District of Columbia, issued an injunction blocking the administration from reissuing or adopting the funding freeze that was first announced and since rescinded memo from the White House Budget Office. So this preliminary injunction will preserve status quo until the ultimate resolution of the litigation. Reduction of indirect cost reimbursement rates for research institutions. Massachusetts versus NIH, National Institutes of Health. Association of American University versus HHS, Hospital and Health Services, and Association of American Medical Colleges versus NIH. On 2/10/2025, 3 actions were filed in the District of Massachusetts, challenging NIH guidance that imposes a universal 15% reimbursement rate for indirect costs of medical research, which research institutions have historically negotiated on an individual basis. On 3/5/2025, a nationwide preliminary injunction was issued for all 3 cases against implementation of the NIH guidance in any form with respect to institutions nationwide. DEIA, NADOHE, and that's the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education versus Trump. On 2/21/2025, a nationwide preliminary injunction was issued, which delivered a blow to the administration's efforts to curtail DEI initiatives. The court's decision prevented the Trump administration from taking several key actions by pausing or terminating existing federal contracts and grants related to DEI initiatives, requiring contractors to certify their DEI practices, or pursuing enforcement actions under the executive orders. The ruling maintained the status quo for institutions and organizations engaged in diversity work while the legal challenge proceeds. However, on 3/14/2025, a stay was issued that restored the federal government's ability to enforce three key provisions. First, federal agencies may now implement determination provisions from Executive Order 14151 that directs them to eliminate all equity-related grants or contracts within 60 days. Second, federal agencies can now require contractors and grantees to certify both that compliance in all respects with all the applicable federal anti-discriminatory laws is material to the government's payment decisions for False Claims Act purposes, and that it does not operate any programs promoting DEI that violates any applicable federal anti-discriminatory laws. Third, federal agencies may now bring enforcement actions against private sector organizations based on the enforcement threat provision in Executive Order 14173, which directs all federal agencies with the Attorney General's assistance to take appropriate measures to end illegal discrimination and preferences, including DEI in the private sector. The NADOHE case in Maryland is just one of the several court challenges to President Trump's DEI executive orders, currently working their way through the federal court system. California versus the Department of Education. On 3/6/2025, 8 states filed an action against the Department of Education and the current and the former secretaries of education, challenging the termination of congressionally authorized grants for teacher training programs. On 3/10/2025, the court issued a TRO, temporary restraining order, blocking termination of the grants. The Ombuds Program. The Independent Ombuds Program is designed to help people and families preserve their rights, access services, and address complaints that arise related to OPWDD's service delivery system. They operate a toll-free hotline number at 1-800-763-9290. And the office is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In addition to the toll-free hotline, the Ombuds Program can also be contacted via their website, iddony.org. I'll put it in the chat. Let me see that afterwards. Just giving you that information. We also have guidance from the Office of General Services, OGS, regarding an Office of Language Access on Federal Actions. The Federal Administration issued an executive order designating English as the official language of the United States. The executive order revokes Executive Order 13166 of August 11, 2000, improving access to to services for persons with limited English proficiency, and requires the U.S. Attorney General to replace existing policy guidance with updated guidance. However, this new executive order does not require or direct any change in the services provided by any federal executive agency. The executive order also does not require federal agencies to amend, remove, or otherwise stop production of documents, products, or other services prepared or offered in languages other than English. The executive order does not affect the requirements under the implementation of the New York State Language Access Law. On the contrary, New York State remains firmly committed and fully prepared to support you and your agency in continuing to implement this law to ensure that all New Yorkers can access government services and benefits, no matter their level of English proficiency or preferred language. Please reach out to OPWDD Council's office or the DEI office at diversity and inclusion at opwdd.ny.gov before responding to any external inquiries you receive related to the New York State Language Access Law. The Office of Language Access and the state of agency work to ensure language access. The OGS, Office of Language Access, will continue to monitor and provide updates on relevant guidance and actions as a result of this executive order. Multi-state guidance concerning diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility employment initiatives. The Attorneys General of Massachusetts, Illinois, Arizona, California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Vermont issued a guidance to help businesses, nonprofits, and other organizations operating in our respective states understand the continued viability and important role of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility efforts, sometimes referred to as DEI or DEIA initiatives, in creating and maintaining legally compliant and thriving workplaces. Finally, OPWDD Rehabilitation to Employment Initiative. To support New York's Employment First initiative, OPWDD is developing a multi-year strategy to help people move to employment with a full array of community, vocational, and employment service options based on each person's interests, skills, and support needs. OPWDD is working with day rehabilitation providers, self-advocates, families, provider associations, and consultants to create a statewide plan to assure that people have a comprehensive career plan and that they are moving to employment as feasible. OPWDD is also working to reduce system barriers and disincentives that impede movement to employment and vocational services, in addition to increased community engagement. We're also pleased to announce that a 2-year funding contract for a newly developed community engagement and career planning for day rehabilitation staff and management training has been approved and allocated. And the purpose is to train day rehabilitation services management and their staff to teach interpersonal skills, safety skills, build independence, and increase community engagement to better prepare people for work. The training will also feature examples of people with a variety of skills and abilities who have worked or they're working and on their road to success. Management and staff will learn about the various employment and vocational services options and how to transition people to these services in a timely manner. Currently, rehabilitation agencies have challenges freeing staff up from direct support to attend new trainings. OPWDD is developing strategies to incentivize sending staff to trainings and developing executive leadership training with the remaining funding allocated to this project. That is the end of my update. Does anybody have questions? I know that was a lot, but.
Thank you so much, Lucy. That was quite an amount to digest. So if anyone has questions, please use the raise hand feature and I will get to you. Rochelle, please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you, Lucy. That really was a extremely detailed and comprehensive report. And I want to say, from a family perspective, where many families are anxious about the potential impact of the federal cuts, I was happy to hear about, what OPW's perspective on this and what the state is doing in anticipation of this. Of course, the other part that, wasn't under OPW purview, but that is very worrisome to everybody is the dismantling of the Department of Education and moving special ed services to Health and Human Services under the new Secretary RFK Jr. So that's another area of grave concern for families with school-age children. I wanted to just mention one other thing, which is, unless I missed it, I didn't hear in your report that OPWDD has posted a new video explaining the CAS, the Coordinated Assessment System, which I think people should take a look at. It's on the website. But I will also share that I'm getting a lot of feedback from families and also from self-advocates that there are some concerns about the effectiveness of the video. And I was just wondering, and since Mr. Doherty is here, he might also know, if there's any avenue for family members and individuals to share those concerns with the agency and perhaps, improve the product.
So I'm going to let James answer. James?
Well, I guess he's not available.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think there's always avenue to express concern, and they can either be brought to the attention of. I'm not sure if the video has a way to provide feedback, but okay. I believe that, yeah, those feedback can also be shared through us. I can also follow up to find out if we have a website, if we have a mailbox that feedback can be sent to. So let me look into that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that, Lucy, because like I said, I'm hearing from a lot of people. And, I think it's good that the agency is providing information. I do believe it could be done more effectively. And I was also wondering, since you're going to be following up, if OPW has any plans to do any actual presentations with stakeholders where we can actually ask our questions, have some answers, raise concerns, instead of just sending things in a more passive manner. Because I do believe, and I think the agency has been always committed to bidirectional dialogue. So that was just an additional concern, but thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you. I'll certainly take that back as well. I know that in the past, to your point, we've had kind of town hall meetings and just opportunity to engage with stakeholders. So I'll find out what's going on.
That was a few years ago, Lucy. Nothing's happened for quite a while. And, you know, things arise. And now that there's many more people who are taking the CAS, newly eligible people, you know, that weren't even engaged in this process previously. So I think it merits some further engagement.
Definitely, definitely. And also before I go, we have Patricia Webb, who is our local school transition coordinator. The last time, I don't know, she just wanted to share briefly about how OPWDD works in the school system. Pat, I hope that's okay, Brian. I know this
Yeah, of
came up
course.
last
And
time.
we do
Yeah.
have another question for you, but we'll let her go first, and then Debbie has a question for you after.
Good morning. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Good morning. My name is Patricia Webb. I am the local school transition coordinator supervisor for Region 4. I have great news. For some time, we were struggling with getting persons to support Brooklyn in Region 4 local school transition coordinator. We have recently been able to secure a hire for Brooklyn. I have placed that information in the chat. So Brooklyn now has individual representation for local school transition coordinator, Ms. Francine Barrow. She is on the meeting today, and I have placed her contact information along with my own in the chat, as well as several resource information. As you know, local schools usually we are tasked with dealing with the outward facing for OPWDD regarding young adults transitioning out of Board of Ed into OPWDD post-secondary services that are available to them. So we tend to often engage with local schools, events, outward facing, providing general information regarding OPWDD, targeted information regarding transitioning young adults. And as such, we do also provide some general information regarding if the person is not yet found OPWDD eligible, resources and ways to garner OPWDD eligibility and moving forward as to what the process is all the way to service authorization and service attainment. I have placed some of those resources, initial resources, in the chat that you are allowed to share with families, with individuals, with colleagues, with anyone that would benefit. That's my little bit for this process.
Thank you. And just as a reminder, these meetings are recorded. The chat, the video, they are posted on our website after. So it's an easy way for everyone to share it. I also want to just quickly point out when Lucy talked about the Ombuds program, we had a great presentation by them last month. So if someone was looking for more details on that, you can go back on our YouTube or our website and watch that presentation to learn more about how that can benefit and support you. Debbie, you have a question
Okay.
for Lucy?
Yes, I do. First of all, Lucy, thank you for the report. Very good to see you. And also glad about the new transition coordinator for Brooklyn. Now it's 2 questions, but they'll be quick. One major concern is, as you know, my child was in a non-District 75 program. And last month, a week ago, I went to FDR High School. They had a resource fair at nighttime. And I have to tell you, the same issue that we're having again. There is not enough information for families who are not in District 75 programs. They're in the 10-month District 75 program. They don't know about OPWDD no matter how many times we try. So I hope we have to continue working together to fix this issue. And then the other question I have is, due to the fact of the issues from the covered administration, is there anything like my advisory council can also do? Because we will advocate because we're very concerned about what could happen. And yes, we respect that people may not always, English is not their first language. So whatever help you can give us when we have families who come to our council meeting who do not speak our language, so we can make sure they can hear and understand everything. So we'll have to probably meet in person soon to discuss all this.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Lucy.
No, go on. I was just gonna invite you to speak to that first question. Go on.
Yes, to the first point, thank you for your concern. OPWDD has made efforts via email blast to non-district 75 schools, providing general information with regards to how to contact us and how to get the process started. We have sent it out to several, it was a blast, a full blast to
I
the non-district
understand.
75 schools, and we awaited response. The response was minimal, but the blast is out there, and the blast has not just been sent out on one occasion. We routinely send it out. We're in 2025. We will be again sending out that blast to non-district schools that may have OPWDD or
Yeah.
individuals who can benefit from OPWDD, and with general information and information as to how to contact us and how to start that process with us. We will continue to have that avenue open to the non-district, non-75 district schools.
Please do. But also, as I said, you're always welcome, your staff, to always come to the advisory council. As you know, we have our own website too. And
Yes.
at the resource fair, please send your information, whoever's going to represent OPWDD on April 4th, Friday, April 4th, because I'm working with Carrie Banks from Inclusive Service. We're trying very hard to make sure all families whose children have developmental disabilities will get the help and services. So please use us. We're willing to help and work with you.
Thank you very much for that open invitation.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
I always am. Lucy, I'll tell you, I'm
And-
very open. I let everybody come. Right, Lucy?
As in your, again, in your chat, both of our contact information are there. I don't know how many school personnel are on, but please utilize our contact, both for myself and for Miss Barrow. Miss Barrow is a recent hire. She is still being onboarded and trained. So
Understand.
definitely send any request straight to me, and we would try make every effort to make sure that your concerns are addressed or elevated to the position where it needs to go so that it could be addressed. Okay,
We'll do
but
that.
the contact information is in your chat. Please make use of it, as well as some random resources, general information resources that I've also added.
Yes, and we will also use into the advisory council so we could put on our website.
Well,
Okay.
you could just take it from us, Debbie. We have another
I'm not. I'm going to
question.
let Chris do that, because if I did that, I
Okay,
would crash everything.
okay. We need
Debbie
to
won't
keep
do
the
that.
agenda moving. We do have two
Go.
presenters waiting.
Go
So
ahead.
we do have another question for OPW. Ellen, please go ahead.
Given the fact that this is a new person, when is she expected to be fully on board? And given the number of children, or I shouldn't say children, young adults who will be exiting the school system on all types of IEPs, does she have a limit on the number of people she can address? Does she have a staff? We're talking about a couple of hundred kids, and I don't see, she may be superhuman, but I don't see anybody being that superhuman, especially a new person. And if you're new to New York City, just learning the ins and outs could be time consuming and crushing.
Yes, and yes. Miss Barrow is currently being onboarded. I can't give you, she is supported as she's been onboarded as well to address any concerns that are coming in. So like I said, send them straight to me. If you have pieces that we will make sure that it gets taken care of. With regards to a time limit, I couldn't give you an exact time limit to complete her onboarding. It's an ongoing process. As you point out, it is a wealth of information that has to be transmitted to her. What we do on our end is that if you have individuals with regards to HIPAA, you get their HIPAA clearance and you send us that contact information so that we can deal with those as well on a one-to-one basis.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing.
No, it's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh. I would not even take that away from you, because it's a daunting task and we're addressing it as best we can.
Thank you.
With regards to her having her staff, it's a staff of one for the borough and support.
One.
we have a representative for each borough, one for Brooklyn, one for Queens. So it's of one with the support of the team.
And I'm assuming that they're working with the New York City Board of Education TCAC centers?
Yes.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
if you have any concern or any questions, I mean, Patricia says she did put her information in the chat. I'm also here. We're here in Brooklyn. We attend this meeting regularly. Those concerns can be brought to our attention. I will follow up with them as best as we can.
Thank you.
It
All
is
right,
a collaboration, and within the confines of our, of our resources, we are here to support the committee.
Thank you.
All right. Lucina, is your question quick? Last question for
Yes,
OPWDD.
quick. No, it's not a question, it's a comment. I just want to say thank you because we've been having so many issues with transitioning as far as OPWDD. So thank you, Ms. Webb, for doing this and making sure that our parents concerned, because like Ellen was saying, some of our kids are leaving in June and it's very, very late already, not getting the support that they need with their case managers and connecting with the transitional coordinators as well. So thank you so much. I hope you'll be always hearing from my time and Lucina Clark. So when it comes concern to our families, we will be very involved. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you, Patricia. And welcome, Francille. We look forward to working with you. And I'm going to now pass it to Kate Hoy. I want to welcome her to the Brooklyn Council. She is a new member at IAC, but probably not a stranger to many of you as she's been very involved with the Queens Council for many years. So welcome, Kate, and IAC report is up.
Thank you. And thanks for bearing with me. I'm having terrible technical issues this morning. So thanks, Brian. That was an awesome update. And as Brian said, it's really good to see so many of you again. It hasn't been very long, but it's just nice to be with you. Quick update from IAC. You've already been having conversations about everything that's going on the federal level. We'll speak to that briefly, but thank you for your advocacy there. Obviously, keep it up. Make it possible for yourselves. If it's, twice a week or once a day, you have a reminder just to make a phone call. We don't want folks to get overwhelmed. It is overwhelming. Okay. So just jumping in, thanks to everyone who participated in the IAC lobby days. They were a great success, which has been reflected in the One House budget. So thanks to everyone who attended up in Albany and who's been meeting with their legislators locally. Keep it up. We have asked for the 7.8% targeted inflationary increase, which would be a significant increase over what the governor had recommended in her budget. We also asked for a wage commission to make recommendations to increase direct care salaries and to return OPWDD rate setting from DOH to OPWDD. Neither of those last two were included in the One House budgets, but the 7.8% targeted inflationary increase was included in both the Senate and the Assembly. The Senate included 4% toward direct care staff titles, and actually included a direct service wage enhancement for $4,000. And the Assembly included the 7.8% with no restrictions. So thanks to everyone for that. For SED, we're going to ask for a 3.2 or 3.1% increase in line with what SED's request in their rate methodology to DOB. So we're gonna, that actually is due by April 15th. So we'll wait to see what that is, but we will align ourselves with their ask. We also asked in our advocacy to include funding support for students continuing through the end of the year that they turn 22 years old, which is known as FAPE 22. The Senate did include that. There's actually legislation that may challenge that now, is our understanding. It's somewhat new. So more to come on that. On FAPE 22, it would be very important to ensure that districts have the financing needed to ensure students are funded through the years they turn 22, but there may be a challenge to that Connecticut court case that the New York State Office of Counsel actually agreed with. I'm getting a little into the weeds here, but we'll come back with more information there. And then we're asking for a continuation to the current rate methodology until the new rate methodology is implemented, and that's going to be years. So we have a tuition rate methodology reform work group at IAC, and we will continue to work on that and provide input to that commission. But that is expected to be, over I don't believe that there is an actual rate expected before 2029, 2030 perhaps. So we'll keep you updated on that. For EI, we requested a 5% rate increase, implementation of the 4% increase for underserved areas that was approved in last year's state budget, retro to 1/1/25, and that was actually approved recently. In the One House budgets, there had been $32 million that was savings that was to a reduction because of telehealth decreases after the pandemic. So we've asked for that to be reinvested. The Senate appears to have included that funding for a 10% increase to EI, and the Assembly included language, sorry, to include that 5% as well. And also the Senate included language to do a comprehensive review or a cost study of the EI rate, which is going to be important. That's not a guarantee, but we're thankful that they included the language for that cost study. Thanks to everyone also who attended the rally in the Capitol War Room in Albany. That was in February, at the end of February. Thanks again for that. And then just a reminder in terms of the federal situation that any cut to Medicaid will force the states, New York State, other states, to take on a greater share of the cost burden. And when this happens, all Medicaid funded services will be in danger. Even if people with disabilities are not the target of the Republican agenda, they will feel the impact and bear the brunt. So, Medicaid also funds Part C of IDEA. Parts of it, it's going to be a major system. It would be, as you all know, again, the point is not to terrify folks, but continue your advocacy, please. Have conversations with your neighbors, with your family members, to the extent to let them know that Medicaid is important to you. I think most people actually understand this. We just want to keep up the momentum. There's many sign-on letters, continue to complete those one-clicks, continue to attend rallies. I hear there's a great rally this past weekend in the Hudson Valley for calling on Mike Lawler to amend some of his positions. Lots of events being put on by various entities. So when you receive the info, we just ask that you, to the extent possible, participate, share with all of your network and groups. There's lots of Zooms that are occurring, especially if you can request meetings with your Republican delegation. That's always very appreciated. And we'll continue to circulate info as well. SED, IAC lobby days are coming up May 5th and 6th. So many of our members have already signaled their interest, and we are already talking to our lobbyists, organizing meetings, getting that ready to go. It should be fun, but also really productive for us to continue with our asks to SED. We'll have some good meetings there. As I mentioned, the IAC work group on tuition rate methodology continues to meet. And this is really just inside baseball, but there's a new system it's called Atlas, that the DOE and NYCPS has implemented that is just causing some real headaches for our MDE providers. And that, remains something that we're actually working in concert with the Atlas team and really appreciate that partnership. It has been a headache for providers. It is a challenging time here in the middle of the year to implement a new system, content management system, billing system, all things system. But we're working with the Atlas team, with New York City Public Schools, and with our providers to, try to implement some productive changes there. And the last thing is from Mary. She wanted me to make sure, Brian and everyone, that folks were aware that there's an expected amendment from OPWDD regarding Article 16 clinics. Not sure of the timeline of when it will be released, but it is expected. And it's that Article 16 clinics will be restricted to providing services only to people with OPWDD eligibility. And in particular, many of our providers who are providing services to children, OTPT, speech services, counseling services, those, if they do not have OPWDD eligibility, they will not be able to continue receiving services there. we want to ensure that folks are aware that you are helping families either obtain that eligibility or letting them know, ensuring that they're aware that this change is coming, especially to school teams as well, so that you're informing families, and perhaps you may or may not be referring families. Now, that said, absolutely Article 16 clinics will still be able to perform evaluations for eligibility. So eligibility and evaluations for eligibility, yes. Services that, like counseling, like OT/PT speech that would require eligibility, those are the things that we're talking about here. And if there are any questions, I see, Lucy, I saw you nodding your head a little bit. If there's a clarification needed, okay. I think that's it, but just to make sure that folks are aware. And I heard the questions about, obviously the, the news coming out of Washington about the Department of Education is of tremendous concern. Of course, we urge folks, everyone, please to contact your legislators and let them know that you want IDEA and all services for students with disabilities. You want the Department of Education to remain intact, and to maintain oversight of all special education programs. Students with disabilities should not be segregated into a different organization. There are already lawsuits, and there will continue to be lawsuits that are filed. The legislation of IDEA does stipulate that the oversight should happen by the Secretary of Education, and that it should be part of the Department of Education. So there will be more to come there. But again, in your advocacy, if you could just include asking your legislators, letting your legislators know how important it is for the Department of Education to exist. That'll be important. That's it.
Thank you so much, Kate. Do we have any questions for Kate?
Sorry, I know it was pretty fast.
All right, well, we appreciate it and welcome to the Brooklyn Council, and we look forward to your updates on a monthly basis.
Thank you so much. And I apologize, I have to jump off for another meeting, but I'll see you next month.
All right, thank you. All right, so now I would like to introduce Deon Jones. She is the founder of Uniquely Me Creative Arts, and you guys have probably seen some updates and some of their flyers that I've shared out on her behalf to the mailing list. So Deon, the floor is yours. Oh, you're muted.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry about that. And thank you so much, Ryan, for your advocacy and just keeping us all together. I just want to thank a couple of folks on the call. One, my UMCA families. We have Carlin, Kia, Alyssa, and Joanne on the call. I would also like to thank Miss Lucina Clark, who is a mentor of mine. I actually told her she's going to be my mentor because she's so amazing, and who she also introduced me to Miss Deborah Graff. So I'm just grateful to be in community with such amazing folks. So good morning again, everyone. And I am Deon Jones, and I'm going to share my screen to give you guys a brief presentation about Uniquely Me Creative Arts and why we do what we do. Can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and Elijah's story. Elijah was born with Down syndrome and diagnosed with autism when he was 5 years old. And I was 22 years old when I had him. So it was a bit of a struggle, just trying to navigate the system and trying to find like-minded people who are experiencing the same, challenges and joys that I had with Elijah. And although I am actually an educator, I work for the New York City Public Schools as a district achievement instructional specialist coach, supervising math and science. And I was also an assistant principal supervising special education. However, I don't have all the answers, and I needed a community and a network to really help and to give back to the community. So this is why I started UMCA, because along with Elijah having Down syndrome and autism, he also struggles with sensory processing disorder. And I'm going to share a little bit about what sensory processing disorder is and how it impacts our children and adults who struggle with sensory sensitivities and also have special needs. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we started in October of 2023. And our mission is to improve sensory processing disorder for children with special needs through sensory-focused creative arts activities, while their families engage in family chats led by experts in the field. So our sensory-focused creative arts activities are tailored and designed to really help support children with their tactile, auditory, and visual stimuli. And then we also have our family chats where we bring in therapists and various leaders in the special needs community to give tips and strategies to our families, while we also take some time to, bond and share our stories and just really love on each other. And that's during our family chat. So we have a twofold program where we provide loving services to children and loving services to families. We meet every second Saturday of the month at Bethany Baptist Church, which is located at 460 Marcus Garvey Boulevard from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We did have to make a change this month for our Spring Sensory Festival, which I will talk a little bit more about later, to April 19th. So next month's meeting in April will be April 19th. I shared our mission with you guys already, and this is our vision. We envision a world where every child with special needs finds their unique creative voice, lives an inclusive life, while their families share a journey of love and empowerment. Here are our core values: empathy and support, knowledge and growth. And sensory processing disorder, really briefly, it happens when the brain receives signals from the outside world, if you will, and it's not processing properly for some folks. For example, you may have some adverse responses if you walk into a room and there's too much light or too much noise, or some children have struggles with touching certain textures. And when they have these sensory inputs, it may have an adverse reaction depending on how the brain processes the information. And I know most of us are aware of our 5 senses, but we also have 8 senses that impact our daily lives. And 3 of the senses, we have proprioception, and that's the body's ability to know how much force you need. So for example, some children may pick up a pen or a pencil very, just heavy and rake. And, sometimes they don't know how much force is needed to complete actions. Then we have our vestibular, which is our sense of balance. And then we also have our interoception, and that's the body's awareness that's internal, right? Sometimes the ability to distinguish between hot and cold. And when these senses are impacted, because the messages are missignaled in the brain, again, that's when sometimes our children have those adverse reactions. And there's no cure for sensory processing disorder. So at Uniquely Me Creative Arts, we work on various sensory sensitivities through sensory diets, through actual creative arts activities, drama, dance, music, and the visual arts. So we work on the 8 sensory systems through creative arts. Some of our children program that we have completed already: sensory eggs, sensory bottles. We've had a silent headphone party. We have drama stations, music stations. We made sensory ornaments with the children, and they really get to have fun and bond with each other, because some of our children, they don't normally socialize with their peers. Socialization can be a struggle. So this allows them to really bond and, make new friends while they're actually working on their sensory sensitivities. We also have our UMCA's family programming called our Family Chat. This picture was from our Financial February, where Ms. Deborah Graff represented and did a wonderful job. We had a panelist of attorneys discussing special needs trust, guardianship, and just various, financial supports that families would need to support their children. These are some of our family chat speakers. Last month, we had a New York City public school psychologist, Sushma Mecca, who came in and spoke about the IEP process, the Turning 5 process, which the name has changed now. So just really giving families strategies and support in terms of special education services in New York City public schools. We've also had physical therapists, a behavior therapist, BCBA, to come and share resources with our families. We are also proud to have a sensory creative arts curriculum, and we're getting ready to start to go into schools at the end of April, providing services where children can now have sensory focus, creative arts, drama, dance, music, and visual arts activities. And it's a great program that we are excited to launch, and it's also aligned to the New York State Learner Standards for the Arts. These are some of our guests and volunteers. I'm not going to read it all for time's sake purposes, but we do get a plethora of guests that come in from the community, because that's what really makes us work, building community and just being able to provide those resources. So we are excited to open our doors for different community-based organizations to come and join us and really network with our families. And this is last year's Autism Awareness Month. I'm going to email Brian this slide deck and some of the images in particular about sensory processing disorder. You can click on it and it gives you additional information. And if you click on these images here, it will show you us in action during these various events. Coming up for 2025 Autism Awareness Month, we have our Spring Sensory Festival, which is going to be exciting. We've already had Brooklyn Public Library Inclusive Services come on, include NYC, Tribeca Pediatrics, BCID. They will be there to provide resources and information while our families set up with their various sensory stations and just having a ton of fun. And our families, we like to connect. Sometimes it's very great, I should say, to have that mommy downtime or that family downtime. So if you click on here, once you receive the slide deck, you'll be able to see us going out. We went out for Mom's Night Out. We did a UMCA Mom's Brunch. I don't know if you guys can still see it here, but again, we enjoy each other and we love each other, and we have times where we just share our joys, our tribulations, and we bond and we share great information. This is a UMCA testimonial video. I'm not going to play because I would like to leave room for questions and answers. But again, you can watch it at your leisure once you receive the slide deck. UMCA, we received a Women's Distinction Awards. I actually live in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and Bethany Baptist Church, where we host our program, is my home church. I grew up there. The Assemblywoman from our district, Assemblywoman Stephanie Zinnerman, she gave us an award, and it was just amazing just to be recognized by the community. I've been working with Assemblywoman Stephanie Zinnerman since about 2012, just putting on various, resource fairs for our community. So it was just a heartwarming experience. And it was presented to me by Dr. Jocelyn Rainey, who is the CEO of Brooklyn Org, who is doing tremendous things for the nonprofits in Brooklyn. So again, it was a surprise and I was just so elated. So what's next at UMCA? We have our Spring Sensory Festival. That is just a real joy for families. We engage in Fellowship Hall. We have all kinds of sensory bottle stations, hand printing stations. We bring down our trampolines, our obstacle courses. So everyone gets to have a good time. We have food. We have vendors. So it's a great time. Please share with your networks and have them register on our website at umcnyc.org. I did want to I'm sorry. We also having Autism Awareness Sunday at Bethany, where we are going. One of the UMCA parents, Dr. Denise Gibbs, is going to speak about nutrition and how it supports children with autism and detoxing. And I'm going to speak about UMCA and how we support children with autism. And this is our calendar that we have for the remainder of the year. We are joining autism, Outdoors for Autism with Include NYC this year. So I am excited about that. I do have one of our parents on the call, Carlin, who would like to just share a few words.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to share how privileged I feel and how grateful I am to be part of such an amazing organization. It just feels that I'm no longer alone, basically. A place where I can walk over in the community and have professionals come out to us and just educate us. It's just, I just compare like when I first received my son's diagnosis of autism as being a very dark place. A year where I felt lost and alone, and I saw videos like I came on Zoom calls, sorry, like this one, but I did not understand the information. I was given all the information, but I was completely lost. And just after I joined UMCA, I just wanted to say how empowered I feel, how much more of an advocate I became, joining forces with Dion and all the professionals that come out to see us, and just the other families. It's just been great. And I just want to congratulate Dion for all the things that she's doing. And thank you all for being here as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlin. Listen, it's we, right? There is no, it's
Yes.
not an I thing, it's a we thing. And I'm just so grateful that I have the support of the families because you think that, oh, she's a special ed background, administrator. She has all the answers. No, I don't. And I don't even want all the answers, right? I can't handle all of them, but I appreciate that you guys pour into me and we love on each other the way we do. We even have a group chat where we go in and we drop in resources, love notes, right? Everything. So this is what we do. And if you know anyone that's looking for a home to, just let their hair down and have that safe space, we do ask that you register for UMCA. And that concludes our presentation. If there's anyone that will have any questions, I'm here for
Thank you so
questions.
much, Dion. That
You're
was great.
welcome. Thank
And we had a good group here to hear it from you today. There is a hand up for you, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hey, Dion, how's it going? Thanks,
Yeah, how are
Brian.
you?
I'm good. So I have 3 questions that I
Yes.
realized I've never asked before. First of all, what languages do you are spoken by your staff and at the programs? Second, is your venue ADA accessible? And I hope that's a yes that you're nodding. And third, are there fees?
All great questions.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. We do have Spanish speaking family members that's there to support. We also, we do have the, Google translations if anyone needs that type of support, but definitely Spanish. And if anyone else knows anyone that can provide additional language supports, we're open to it. Yes, we are ADA accessible. Miss Deborah was there in February and she had, was able to maneuver and do what she needs to do. And there is no fee. We are this is totally funded through love, right? We have not had any real substantial donations as of yet. We are looking to becoming an OPWDD provider. I have been speaking with Miss Lucina. She's also helping us to get funding, and so has Ms. Deborah. So we're just open. This is our second year, and really just trying to solidify ourselves so that we're sustainable, so that when I'm no longer here and Elijah's no longer here, UMCA is still here. So thank you.
Thank you so
And you
much.
have
Those were the answers I was hoping for.
Yes, well, you're welcome.
there's a question in the chat. What is the age range for your programs?
So my age range is school age, about 3 to 18, because while cognitively or chronologically, I could say some of the children are 17, Elijah's 17, but cognitively, he's a little younger. So we do provide those supports for some of our older children. So after 18, we don't have the children, but the families, if you have children that's over 18 and you still would like to come and just catch a vibe with us, please do. But we don't have the supports for any children that are over 18.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for your presentation. And if anyone has any questions, Dion, if you want to put your contact in the chat.
Yes.
And I know you guys see from the mailing list stuff that I forward and on our website, so feel free, reach out to Dion after this, and this will be posted on our website in the next couple of days.
Yes, thanks again, Brian, and thanks again, Carlin, for speaking and always just coming out and helping us when we're in the community. Thanks, guys.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we do have one more presentation today. So I warned you at the beginning, we had a jam-packed agenda. So we have Allie Tierney from Best Buddies. So Allie, you can share.
Yes, hello.
Okay, great.
Thank you all so much for having me today. Awesome. Okay, so I am here to present on behalf of Best Buddies Transitions. So I am the Senior Manager of Transitions for Best Buddies in New York City. I'll go over Best Buddies a little bit more in a few slides. We have a ton of different programs. We're focusing on a select few today, but I'm happy to contact you and connect you with any of your questions to the right people. Okay, so our mission at Best Buddies, we are a nonprofit organization dedicated to establishing a global volunteer movement that creates one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, which is where our transitions class falls under, and inclusive living for people with IDD or intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we serve anybody with the disability classification of intellectual or developmental disabilities, which includes but's not limited to Down syndrome, autism, Fragile X, Williams syndrome, cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injury, and other undiagnosed disabilities. So I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit of a mission moment with our transitions program. So at Best Buddies, we call mission moments the moments where we are fulfilling our mission. This is one of our students, Daniel. He has participated in 2 of our Best Buddies transitions classes. He's worked on self-advocacy, on job exploration, on workplace readiness skills. He's also now kind of graduated into our Best Buddies jobs program. So he's currently seeking employment. And he was able to speak as our keynote speaker at our Friendship Walk last year. So Daniel has the most contagious smile and he keeps coming back for more. So he's doing an excellent job. One of our students who is really kind of going through all of our programs and is having and finding a lot of success and joy and friendship in all of it, as well as some self-advocacy skills like public speaking. Awesome. So I'm going to start off by going over all of our pillars at Best Buddies. I'll denote which ones are in New York and which ones aren't. So at Best Buddies, one of our biggest pillar is our friendship pillar. This is where we create one-to-one friendships between individuals with and without disabilities. In elementary through high school transitions age, this happens within the schools. It also happens in colleges, and then after college or after that 18 to 22 and up, we do have a citizens program. This program is in the community, so individuals with and without disabilities in our community will apply to the program and will get matched into one-on-one friendships based on commonalities, based on common interests. And it's a really great program. It's in a lot of schools schools in all 5 boroughs. If you have any questions about that program, feel free to reach out to me and I'll connect you with our program manager. Our next one is integrated employment, which secures jobs for people with disabilities. I'm going to go over that a little bit more in the next slide because we also have this in New York City. Our leadership development pillar incorporates our transitions program and our ambassadors program. So our transitions program, I'll talk about in depth, but our ambassadors program is for individuals with and without disabilities to develop their leadership skills and self-advocacy skills. So a lot of this is speech writing, telling your story, who can we tell our story to, how can we be effective with our stories and our missions, and how can we advocate for ourselves and this population as a whole. We also have inclusive living at Best Buddies. Unfortunately, we do not yet have it in New York or New York City, but we do have it in quite a few states. I know we have it in DC, Georgia, California, Tennessee, where individuals with and without disabilities are living together. A lot of this right now is happening on some college campuses. We also have a family support pillar. This is our newest pillar. This is another matching program between families. So as soon as a family receives a diagnosis, whether the baby is still in utero or whether they're of school age or right before school age, parents can connect with other parents on their experiences, and this is sort of a mentorship program for families. We don't yet have this in New York, but hopefully it will be coming soon. Awesome. So I'm going to quickly go over our Best Buddies Jobs program, then kind of work back a little bit for transitions. So our Best Buddies Jobs program is a program where we assist individuals with IDD in getting meaningful competitive employment. We'll help them at the beginning with some of that initial job coaching, and we're around if they need any help, if there's a management change, if they want a promotion, if they're looking to find another job, we're around to help. We are not supported employment. So we kind of do that initial job coaching, and then we let individuals be independent. So this we are a vendor through Access VR. So an individual would go through Access VR if their needs are appropriate for our program. If our program is appropriate for their needs, they can get referred to us that way. And below are some of our New York employer partners that we work with who employ some of our individuals. So I have also a contact slide at the end of this that will have the jobs contact if you need. Excellent. So now I'm going to delve into our transitions program, which is the bulk of this presentation. Our transitions program is one of our newer programs in New York. I say newer, we've been running for almost 2 years. We serve individuals with IDD who are 14 to 22 years old. This program is free. We meet students where they are. All level of support needs are welcome. As of now in our transitions program, we serve students who live in or attend school in all 5 boroughs and in Rochester. So students with and without Access VR services can participate. We are a pre-ETS vendor under VR, so we do follow that pre-ETS process. So whether or not a student has Access VR already coming into our program, we can assist them in getting those pre-ETS services through VR. Additionally, if an individual is ready for the VR jobs counseling services, we can assist them in setting that up when the time comes, when they're ready, if they're 18 plus. So our transitions classes generally last for about 6 sessions. That can be adjusted on a case-by-case basis, but generally they're 1 time a week, 1 to 2 hours per session a week. So the way this looks is I would come to a school for about an hour a week for 6 weeks and teach in that classroom. Additionally, we also offer some community classes, which can be, which are kind of held sporadically. I'll definitely be sending Brian some updates when those happen. We most recently just had a February break cohort where students came for kind of an intensive session every day of February break. Sometimes we do offer weekend and after school classes as well. We held a class class in the public library in the Bronx on Saturday mornings. We do also have some virtual classes, which I know will be running this summer. So I'll definitely keep everybody updated on those community class options. Right now, that's sort of the quickest way to get in. We do have a wait list for our school classes. That's about a year. However, we do have programming throughout the year, like webinars or community partners who have sessions that we can invite classes to while they're waiting. The process is to come into our pre-ETS and transitions program. All students will fill out a membership application prior to our first meeting. This will have parental consent or parental or guardian consent for our Best Buddies programs and for Access VR. We also require that the individual send a proof of disability. Many people send IEPs, but medical documentation also works. And I'm also happy to talk with you on your medical documentation if that's a concern. And so those are the two main things that we need to enter the program. Okay. Excellent. So now I'm going to get into what the program is. So we follow the pre-ETS components as outlined by WIOA. Our first component is self-advocating and mentoring, focus on public speaking, focusing on advocating for your accommodations in IEP meetings, in workplaces, focusing on advocating for your interests and what you want to do as a job in those meetings. So that is self-advocacy in school, at home, in the workplace. Our next is job exploration counseling. This is where students will identify their career interests. A lot of times we do career interest inventories. What are you interested in? And how can we make that into a job? Here's when we really talk about those realistic jobs. You want to be an NBA basketball player? That's awesome. But how do we, turn that into a realistic job? How do we juggle jobs and hobbies? Our next one is workplace readiness training. So this is when we focus on a lot of the soft skills that happen in work. We also focus on the things leading up to work, like job applications, resumes, mock interviews, a lot of those work preparation skills. Right now, we don't have work-based learning and internships. However, we're really hoping they're coming soon and will be approved for them soon. So I always say once you join that Best Buddies Transitions Network, you're in. You're getting all of our webinar opportunities. You're getting the opportunities for community classes. You're getting the opportunities for work-based learning and internships as soon as they come. If there's a student who we've already served that may be great for a work-based learning or internship that will hopefully come up in the future, we're going to be reaching back out to the teachers, the families, the students, so that everybody knows about these opportunities. The last component that we have is the post-secondary counseling, where we do try to connect individuals to their next steps if that's what they're ready for. For those 14, 15, 16-year-olds, a lot of times it's just talking to parents about what's out there, those resources. And the 17 and up is, how do we connect you? Is it sitting down and filling out an Access VR application? Is it guiding you towards OPWDD? We are not an OPWDD vendor, but as a resource, we will connect individuals to that if that is what's most appropriate. This is also when we can kind of evaluate if you're ready for our jobs program, if the program's appropriate for you and your needs, and if that's something that you're looking for. Okay, so the benefits of collaborating with us is that we provide supports for students at age 14, where a lot of places might start at 16. We really focus on person-centered planning. What are the students' interests and not just their needs? We incorporate families, teachers, administrators, team members, students, first and foremost, in our transition planning and in our curriculum planning. And our pre-ETS workshops are meant to complement existing academic and vocational supports offered by schools. So schools may have a really well-running transitions program, but they're missing a certain component, or they're out in the community all the time and are missing some of those soft skills and the steps that come before having to go out of the community. So we complement those programs. Also, if a school is trying to start their transitions program and want teachers to see what transitions instruction looks like, a lot of times we can, shape our lessons towards assisting teachers in developing that programming as well. So just for some Best Buddies transition countrywide. So Best Buddies is an international organization. Our friendship program is in all 50 states. Our transitions program right now is in where the purple is highlighted. We're expanding really quickly. Our proposed expansion and hopeful expansion for this year is in the orange. Our program impact can be seen here. Back in 2019, when this program started in Massachusetts, we started with 143 total number of students engaged in the program. Now we're at close to 800. Additionally, we started in 2019 with 269 number of workshops and sessions completed. We're almost at 2,500. So that is countrywide, but I have to brag about New York a little bit. We are second to Massachusetts in our numbers. So we're growing really quickly. Massachusetts was the first ones that started 2019. We started back in a year and a half ago. Yeah. So we're quickly catching up. Great. So our curriculum overview, we do have a curriculum menu with all of our different topics. We have about 20 or so different lessons under each pre-ETS component that's being created by a national transitions curriculum cohort team. The practitioners and the supervisors are part of that team. I'm part of that team along with about 5 to 8 other people. We're developing this curriculum. We're revamping it. We're teaching it. We're seeing where we need to edit it. It's a continuous, editing and creating process. Our workshops include modifications to meet students' needs, tiered levels of engagement, PowerPoint presentations, worksheets, and any additional resources. So when we come in and teach, we're coming in with everything. We are coming in with our worksheets, we're differentiating everything, we're coming in with our PowerPoint, so we're not asking anything of those teachers for that hour that we're in the classroom, unless they want to provide some support in any way. They're always welcome to, but we also want to, give them the opportunity to sit back and do what they need to do or watch the lesson if that's the point, or if that's something that, they're interested in. So we do kind of work in this tier system. Our tier 1 is awareness. So this is the students that are just starting to think about our plans, and we tier every lesson to all 3 tiers. So we have options available to those beginning stage transitions learners. Maybe they don't have any work experience or very little work experience. Our tier 2 is some experience volunteering. We have lessons that are differentiated to this group, starting to think about those post-secondary plans, but still assessing options. And then our tier 3 group is students have those post-secondary plans in mind. They're almost job ready. Maybe they're starting to get travel trained or starting to get those OPWDD and Access VR services all together. And these students might benefit from additional coaching as they initiate next steps. We talk a lot about jobs here. That's a big, big thing that we do. We also assist students who are looking to go into inclusive higher education programs or who are looking to go into DayHab after they graduate. So we can support students in transitioning to that next step, no matter what stage they're in, no matter what resource they're trying to access. Okay, so we always call this our secret sauce. Let me see. There we go. Our secret sauce. We're a person-centered program. We do have community-based learning opportunities despite not having work-based learning. For example, last week, we have a corporate partner at an international bank, and they hosted a group of students to do a mock interview and elevator pitch session. We were able to tour their building, see all the different jobs that are in a bank. A lot of the students had kind of a vision of the bank as an ATM, and they saw this huge building in Midtown and all the different jobs that are possible there. And they got to meet a lot of the HR representatives from the bank, a lot of the employees there who got to talk to them a little bit about what they do and assist them in some of that mock interview elevator pitch prep. We also have active engagement of community partners like that international bank and our corporate partners. They come and volunteer in our classes, whether in school, communities, or on site as well. We also offer a spiral curriculum. So when I say spiral curriculum, we have all those components. Our curriculum is meant to start at any of those components. So there's no lesson number 1. It's what are your needs and where should we start from there? And so We can start really from anywhere in the curriculum and adapt it to that tier 1 through tier 3. So here are just some examples of some popular lessons in each category. If you're familiar with pre-ets, some of these might look similar. We have some fun names for some of them, but these are constantly being developed, reviewed by our cohort team, and differentiation options are available for all of them. So some popular lesson examples and self-advocacy, how to be my best self, importance of positive self-talk, that's a huge one. SMART goals, defining disability, advocating for accommodation, stress management. Job exploration, some popular lesson examples are why work, what are your work values, exploring vocational themes, informational interviews, site tours, career panels. For workplace readiness, we have resume building, job applications, mock interviews, how to work as a team, who's in charge around here anyway, which is our how do you speak to a supervisor lesson, customer service strategies and etiquette. Additionally, some of our post-secondary lessons are so many options, introduction to your post-secondary options, post-secondary site tours, and knowing those options. What's higher education? What's community-based learning? What are vocational schools and apprenticeships? And then more in work-based learning and internships to come soon. Some other things that we utilize in transitions is it was formerly called Virtual Job Shadow. Now it's Pathful Explore. We use that with a lot of our participants. I also do sometimes have individual participants who are referred to from Access VR to Best Buddies Transitions and pre-ets. This is a site that we utilize a lot for them. And we have additional resources in curriculum. Our Best Buddies pillars are all working together. We have lessons on independent living where our independent living pillar can come and speak to individuals who are looking to do that, even though we don't have independent living services from Best Buddies in New York right now. We have job coaches that come and talk to the students. We're planning for hopefully around May a panel of jobs participants in our programs who will come and talk to a group of students, a webinar hopefully, so that we can make it accessible to everyone. They can share their experience with Best Buddies jobs and working as an individual with a disability. So we have a ton of different resources that we utilize. We always work together. All right, awesome. So I've come to the end of the presentation. I know I was speaking quickly and there's a lot of information. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll also be dropping my email in the chat if questions are easier that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. That was great. And just for those that weren't aware, Ali and Best Buddies was represented at our Family Support Fair last year, and hopefully we'll see them there again this year. So some of you guys may have gotten to meet them and gotten some information. But just if you could do me a favor, let people grab that information and just stop sharing. That way I can see if anyone has their hand up or anything like that.
Yes, and I can put this information in the chat as well.
All right. Well, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Ali? I don't see any hands. Put some kudos in the chat for you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if any questions come my way after, oh, we have a question from Debbie.
Hi, just quick question. Do you also give training to the families to understand their child's benefits?
We can. Yeah, that's definitely an option. I think what we would do in that case, if that's something that is of interest of a school or a community, is we can bring in people who are resources for that.
Well, let me
So
explain this quickly, what I'm saying to you. Our children, because they were born and they have to be acknowledged they're disabled before the age of 22. There's a very important Social Security benefit
Yes.
a child can lose if they make more money than mom and dad.
Yes.
Even though the National ARC, as well as all of us advocates, have been advocating for a higher, to raise up the wages so that the children can work without losing their coverage. That's the piece I'm asking about.
Yes, we can connect individuals to the right places for that. We could bring resources in, and we do have lessons on financial financial topics for individuals. If their families are interested, then we can hold, another webinar. We're trying to cater it as individually as possible. So we do have lessons on it for the individuals. And anything outside of that, we can help connect or bring supports in to share with our communities.
Okay, because remember, our children are called DACs, disabled adult children, and they can collect under their parents' social security. That happens to be a very important benefit that we don't want them to lose.
Yes.
The medical coverage.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ali? All right, so again, if anyone does have questions, she put her contact into the chat. You can contact me and I'll make sure it gets to her. And I will share all the information she gave me so you guys can have it. It'll be posted, the recording of the presentation for both her and Uniquely Me Creative Arts from Dion will be on our website within the next few days. Thank you so much, Ali. That was great. And I'm sure people will reach out after getting all the information.
Thanks so much.
All right, we have just a little less than 15 minutes left, so I will open the floor for updates and announcements. And that was quick. Carrie Banks.
Thanks, Brian. So I've already put a couple things in the chat. What I want to call people's attention to is the one that Deborah already mentioned, the Developmental Disability Fair at the McKinley Park Library on April 4th. That's the correct date. And I just want to also point out that we will be providing Mandarin and Cantonese interpretation for that event, and that we have a couple of vendors there, exhibitors there, whose agencies provide services in those languages. So please help us share this through that community, through the Chinese speaking community. We rarely get to do offer programs and resources in those languages. So I would love your help in pushing those out. And then also, of course, we do not have a concert next month. My mistake. We have one in May, and I'll tell you about that later. And finally, our one-to-one assistance for individual youth with disabilities and their families, help navigating disability systems like the Department of Education and actually also OPWDD and other systems. So if you know people who have questions about that, they can call and make appointments at the library. All of this is in the chat, and those appointments are virtual, so you don't actually have to come into the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next up is Doris.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Doris Kahn, and I am the Outreach Coordinator for New York State Institute on Disability. We're a family support agency. Summer is around the corner, and I just want to let everybody know that NYSID offers summer camp reimbursement. For more information on this, and do it soon, is to call Jackie Tribodi at 929-202-1115, or you can email her at jtripodi@nysidinc.org. Also, NYSID has tickets for venues for recreational outings for individuals and their family members. For more information about that, you can contact Sarah Alton at 718-494-6457, or you can email her at salton@nysidinc.org. I put it in the chat, the email addresses and numbers, Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doris. Next up is Sandy.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today, and thank you for allowing me to present these free webinars. I want to announce 3 free webinars that ADAPT Community Network is having. The first one is this Thursday, March 27th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's called What Families Can Do While Waiting for Early Childhood Services. I'm sure you know many families wait a long time for evaluations, and then if they are approved, getting services. So this webinar will be a great help to these families. The next one coming up.
A lot of background noise, Sandy.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the little, I can't do anything about that because there's something going on in the background, which I can't help.
It's only 12, it's 24.
It's 24. Can you still hear me? Wait,
We can.
let me, okay. So then the next one coming up is family support services. What are they and how do you get them? And our own Nicole Pagano will be presenting this for us, and it will be Thursday, April 3rd, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And the last one coming up is April 10th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. explaining mental health diagnoses to kids. So thanks very much, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Sandy. Any other announcements? Any other? I don't see any other hands.
Hi, Brian. This is Angela Blades. How are you?
Hi, Angela.
Mine's a quick announcement. I did put it in the chat. The family support application for reimbursement has been updated along with the FAQ. The non-allowables has not been changed yet, but we are looking to hopefully get some more items added to that list. Also, with you having a, when is your meeting again? Your fair? We need to update the family support guide. So we'll be sending out the template for that, and hopefully I can send it to you so you can also send it out and we can get that updated in time. I'm trying to get them out this week so we can get it back by maybe April the 15th to give us time to update the book in time for you guys. That's basically all my announcements right now. No, I'm sorry. You can go to the Family Support Advisory website, the Family Support Services website, to see the updates for the FAQ and the application and all the stuff that they have put on there. There's actually a training on there for the care managers or for the public if they want to see it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And we can definitely coordinate to help make sure people get the guide and how to send in updates to you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see any other hands, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we were looking for you earlier, and I think you had signed off, Martha, but I wanted you to quickly introduce yourself to the group, and if you want to plug your committee that you co-chair for us, the Residential and Housing Committee. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, good. Hi, guys. I'm Martha Brown-Tulloch. I'm co-chair of the Residential Committee for the Brooklyn Development Committee. I am currently program coordinator of the OPWDD Subsidy Housing Program through Block Institute. And we had our first committee meeting last week, Friday, right, Brian?
Yes.
Last week, Friday. It was a great turnout. I was very excited and I was very pleased at the turnout. There were some great questions, and we showcased the new building, the new ISS apartments that are being offered in Brooklyn through SUS. So if any care manager on the call who has any individuals that qualify for the OPWDD housing subsidy, please reach out to them. And we're looking forward to presenting more housing options, different kind of housing options available to the individuals we serve. So we meet every other month, Fridays at 4 p.m. And we will pass the information out when it gets close. And as always, Brian will always post it in the group chat. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you so much, Martha. So yeah, so this is a committee that we started this year. We haven't had the last few years, Residential and Housing Committee. It is a great need. It is a hot topic. And it's not just about what is available, because some parents are not there yet. So sometimes it's just about sharing information, making connections, sharing resources. So when you are ready to take that step and look at the residential and housing world, you'll know what to expect. And also on the other side, if you're in it, what works, what doesn't work, and how can the council help advocate on behalf of the families utilizing it to make it better. All right, if we don't have any other questions, we came right up against it. So I'm glad we're able to fill the agenda today. Hopefully you guys found it all valuable and helpful. Thank you everyone for being here. I will email when the meeting recording is posted with the chat and everything on the website, bkddcouncil.org. And feel free, if you have any questions in between our meetings, you can always email me and we'll do our best to get you information you're looking for. Have a great week, everyone.
You too. Bye, Brian.
Thank you all. Be well, everyone.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.